Oh, hell yeah. What up, guys? Burnished here with TGN.TV. Today, I'm going to be going over... Sith Warrior! Because Sith Warrior has lightsabers, and I like the lightsabers. And I know you guys have been asking for other classes, so might as well start here. Basically, first, here, this is your advanced class that you get at level 10, and I'm going to choose for the first one, Juggernaut, which is your tank-esque class. And this basically, I think with this one you can only wear heavy armor. I think it's with Juggernaut is the only one that can wear heavy armor, and then the Marauder wears the other armor. I may be wrong with that. Okay, first we go into Vengeance, and this is a bit weird because you chose Juggernaut, which is a tanking spec primarily, or a tanking advanced class, but then you can also go into damage. So I don't know if it would be a bit like prop PvP maybe, or I think what's going to happen here is they're going to have skill resets in the actual game, as in talent respec. But it will only work for the skills and not the advanced class, if that makes sense. So if I go Juggernaut, I can't suddenly switch to Marauder. I have to stay Juggernaut. That's why they've added Vengeance. So then, if someone goes tank, but suddenly doesn't want to be a tank, or wants to actually do damage in PvP or whatever like that, then they can always switch. They can always talent switch to Vengeance. So that's a pretty cool move, I suppose. That does mean that on my Sith Inquisitor I can only be a healer or magic damage dealer. But still. Anyway, let's actually get into this. Okay, so we start off with Vengeance, which is the damage one, and you get an instant thing with a 9-second cooldown, which channels the force in your lightsaber and crushes your target underneath its weight, dealing 569 internal damage to the target immediately, afflicted by Sundering Assault, with a further 1,476 internal damage over 12 seconds. So it's a good instacast, straight away damage, and then adds a very nice dot onto the end of that. So that's a good skill. It would definitely be good for damage. Then you get Unstoppable, where your force charge has a 100% good chance to grant Unstoppable, which reduces all damage taken by 20% and grants immunity to physical and movement impairing effects for 4 seconds. There we go. I got that. And then, so that's the DPS one basically. And you get to Immortal, which is the tanking. And you get an instacast spell that has 3-minute cooldown. It's called Invincible and reduces all damage that the warrior takes by 60% for 9 seconds. So it's sort of like a shield wall, I guess. And you get Revenge, which is passive. It says, while in Soresu form, which I suppose is like a stance, parrying, deflecting, shielding, or resisting an attack has a 50% chance to grant Revenge, reducing the rage cost of your next force scream or smash by 1, lasts 10 seconds, and can stack up to 3 times, which I guess saves rage for taunts, I guess. Don't know for sure. Then you get Rage, which is shared between the two, and yeah, let's look at this. You get Obliterate, which is instacast, and 15-second cooldown. You jump to the target, impaling it for 307 to 363 weapon damage. Strikes with both weapons if you're dual wielding, so that would be for Marauder. And so it's sort of like another force charge, I guess. Not so sure. I suppose you would force charge, and then if the person's running away, you'd use Obliterate, I guess. Then you get Shockwave. Each tick of your Force Choke and Force Crush grants you Shockwave, increasing the damage your next smash deals by 25%, stacking up to 4 times. I'm guessing that would be pretty good. Be like a good stackable thing to use. It's sort of like how rogues stack up combo points to get higher hits or something like that. Okay, so we've gone through that. Now let's go to Marauder and Annihilation. Doesn't that sound friendly? Master the aggressive Juyo form. The Annihilation Marauder destroys enemies from within. Pleasant. And they get Annihilate. 12-second cooldown. Strikes the target with both lightsabers for 547 to 633 weapon damage. Each use of this ability grants Annihilator for 15 seconds. So you could technically spam this, and you'd keep on having the Annihilator buff. And it lowers the cooldown of your Annihilate by 1.5 seconds. So if that stacks up to 3 times, 1.5 times by 3, that's 4.5. So that would go down to 7.5 seconds cooldown on your Annihilate. So you could pretty much spam that, which would be an insane DPS thing. And then you get, as a passive, Inescapable Torment. There we go. Don't know why I couldn't read that. It's a passive, and choke targets take 30% more damage from your next 5 bleed effects. Lasts for 15 seconds. That's pretty nice, because I know that Sith warriors, especially Marauders, have a lot of dots. So that would be very, 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 very helpful. And Carnage. This is quite interesting actually, because it focuses more on the acrobatic lightsaber techniques. So sort of jumping around and really quickly attacking, and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. You get Ataru form, which you enter an aerobic lightsaber form, increasing your accuracy by 3%. In addition, your successful melee attacks have a 20% chance to trigger a second Force Strike that deal 148 energy. This effect cannot occur once more than once every 1.5 seconds. So I guess it's sort of like a seal. If any of you play Paladins, and there's Seal of Righteousness, which or Seal of Truth, which do an additional attack occasionally. I guess that's sort of comparable to that, I suppose. I'll let you decide. And then you get Gore, which Impale now attacks with both lightsabers when dual wielding. So I'm guessing Impale is a strong attack, and now you use it with both lightsabers. Hopefully, I'm hoping that has a different animation as well. So, as in, Impale will have like a one lightsaber animation, but then now you have that has a double lightsaber animation. I suppose that kind of should happen. And then you obviously have Rage, which we've already gone over. Now we're going to go over the spells. Alright, so here we are in the Sith Warrior spells. Well, skills. I prefer not to call them spells, because they're not really spells, they're more like skills. Anywho, as you can see, there's no starter spells, so I'm guessing for the first 4 levels you're just hitting shit. Yeah. Then you get rank 1 at level 4, and impales the target with the main hand lightsaber with very high damage and knocks them back to the ground briefly, which sounds like an amazing skill. And plus, after reading the passive ability where you can use it with 2 lightsabers, that is going to be very, very deadly. Then next, at level 6, you gain Smash, where you leap into the air and smash into the ground, immobilizing nearby enemies for 8 seconds and dealing moderate damage to them. This ability also stuns weak and standard enemies for 4 seconds. I'm guessing that's like trash mobs, I guess. And that's pretty cool, actually. It definitely have its uses in PvP with immobilizing, and it's definitely a very good AoE damage skill. Next, you get Force Stroke, which I'll cool down to 30 seconds. You probably have seen this if you're really into Star Wars like I am. You would have seen this, well, one in the films, but also in a lot of the trailers. You see, and the playthroughs that the directors do, the developers go through, they use Force Choke in that, and so you can already see the animation there, and it chokes the target, leaving them suspended in the air while the warrior channels this ability. Target takes very high damage spread over 6 seconds, and the caster generates 1 rage per second. This is that's pretty insane, to be honest. Although I want to see if it breaks on damage, because wouldn't that mean if as a Sith Inquisitor, let's say I was teamed up with a warrior. The warrior force chokes someone, and then I do insane amounts of damage to that person. Does that mean would Force Choke break, or would... Because I could see that as being pretty overpowered. At least from a PvP point of view. Then we get Force Charge, which is rank 2. So, if it's rank 2, there must be rank 1. So I'm guessing there are some starter skills, but we just haven't gained that information yet. And jumps to a distant target, immobilizing them for a few seconds, interrupting their action, and dealing low damage, generates 3 rage. So it's basically a charging wow, but with an interrupt effect instead of a stunning effect, which is... Personally, I think it will be a good change, because I hate the stuns from Warriors. But then again, I am a priest, so... Here we go, Sorcerer form, which I'm guessing is a stance. While in Sorcerer form, the warrior gains 1 rage when they attack an enemy once every 3 seconds. It also significantly increases their chance to glance at incoming attacks, reducing the damage they inflict. It also reduces the rage granted to all of his assault's abilities by 1, which is Pretty cool. So, I'm guessing that's to decrease the amount of rage that you take up, and also to decrease a bit of damage. You also get Whirling Assault, which is cooldown of 1.5 seconds, and as you can tell from the title, hits up to 3 enemies within melee range of 4 meters, inflicting 50% of damage to each, grants 1 rage, plus 1 additional rage for each target it hits. So it's a good rage builder, plus it's also sort of like Cleave, I guess, in WoW. Then you get Unleash, which has a cooldown of 2 minutes, breaks all movement impairing effects, and grants immunity to those effects for 5 seconds, so it's sort of like the Sith Inquisitor one. Very useful for PvP. I see that pretty much all classes have this, so I'm guessing it's like a trinket, so I suppose they won't be adding trinkets in this game. You know, the ones on WoW where it gets rid of stuns and whatnot. Then you have Berserk, which reduces the warrior's health by 10%, but grants 3 action points immediately, and an additional 4 action points over the next 8 seconds. Action points, I'm guessing, is sort of like a combo system. I'm not entirely sure on that. So, it could be, I'm gonna have to check out Warriors in the beta when it comes out. But I'm guessing it'd be definitely for the Marauders out there to do more damage, because if tanks obviously can't really reduce their health by 10%, it wouldn't be that effective in raids, I suppose. Next you get Saber Throw, which we've all seen again, and it has 30-second cooldown, and you throw your lightsaber at a distant target, striking for moderate damage and generating 3 rage. So it's pretty nice against long range people like Sith Inquisitors and Consulars and people like that. Next you get Surge, which is a cooldown of 12 seconds, and it requires 3 rage. And you strike your enemy for moderate damage with your lightsaber and knocks up to 8 targets within 8 meters of the targeted enemy away from the warrior. Does slight damage to all affected enemies. This will be quite good to get people off of you, I guess. We'll have to see, I suppose. It's very hard to say. For PvE wise, I would have no idea. For PvP wise, I'd still have no idea. We'll have to see what warriors can do with this talent. Next you get Invincible, which increases the warrior's resistance to all damage by 80% for 6 seconds. This is a tank spell, but also I suppose could be used for Marauders, and that's pretty insane. Resistance to all damage by 80% for 6 seconds. That's going to be amazing in PvP, that's all I'm going to tell you. Then you get Force Crush, which has a 1-minute cooldown. Suspends the target in the air while the warrior channels his ability. If the channeling completes successfully, the target is crushed and takes massive amounts of damage. This would be insane in PvP, especially, but I suppose easily counterable, because if the other team can stop the warrior, then it would be kind of a waste. So that's all the spells that we have so far. Granted, this is from the PAX, PAX, whatever you want to call it. So there could be some updates. I'm going to try and keep you guys updated. If I do another video and I see Sith Warrior changes, I might include it at the end, you know. Thanks guys, this has been Burnished with TGN.TV. See you all next time.